Welcome to Community Forum. My name is John Guglieltino. I'm your host. This evening we're going to be exploring for the second time, as a follow-up to the first interview we had a while back, crowdfunding and how it's been going since the last show. With me this evening for his second time on this show, and a big credit to him. He knows I say my last name. I'm going to attempt to pronounce his last name correctly. His first name is Manolis, and his Sephirorakis. Close.
I'll
Okay.
give you a pass.
Okay. I want to welcome you to the show, and can you pronounce the last name for us?
Sure, Sphinorolakis.
Oh, I left the F off. Okay.
Oh, no worries.
All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself first, as to how you got into the crowdfunding idea, this concept, and what you've been doing, but just how you got up to that point. What got you interested in it? And, your educational background, a little bit about your background, and how you went down that road, the 2-minute version as opposed to the 5-minute.
Sure.
Okay.
So thank you. So
okay.
As you mentioned, my name is Manolis Sphinorolakis. Graduated from the University of Connecticut with an accounting degree. Did accounting for a while, switched into real estate for a little while, did restaurant management, and then my most recent position was at the Hartford Insurance Company as an auditor as well. Crowdfunding, and I'd like to kind of explain the term too.
Yeah, sure.
Think of the concept of passing around the basket at church, where a group of people contribute financial resources to an individual with a need. Put that concept online, apply it to things outside of charity, such as small businesses, technology, art, music, and film, and you have crowdfunding. So you have websites like Indiegogo and Kickstarter, which are the most popular websites where people post their projects online. And so as I was sitting in my cubicle at the Hartford Insurance Company at the time, October 23rd, 2013.
You know the exact day.
I do. I will never, it started me down the path. And
okay.
And so that date actually was a press release was released by the Securities and Exchange Commission. And so the current model of crowdfunding is donation in exchange for a reward. This new press release made it possible for equity and debt crowdfunding. So instead of receiving a trinket in exchange for, a contribution, you can actually purchase a direct share in a private company now, or you can lend a company money and actually earn a return on that contribution, where in the past it was only a reward for a contribution. So when I saw this happen,
you said, "Oh, wow."
I said, "My Lord, the world is changing, and small business doesn't know about it yet."
Yeah, because you knew about all of the different things that we've talked about over time. The small business, that the economy was bad, would go to the bank. Yeah, I've been here 30 years, and everybody loves me, and I won't have any problems paying back this $50,000 loan. And it says, "I'm sorry, we can't do anything for you this year." Because they really didn't want to put any more money out that year, and that's the breakdown in the capital system that was going on, having to do with the recession. And you had that with some restaurants. I had some other businesses like that.
Yeah.
And this is like the answer that will keep things from completely breaking down when you have another thing like that, which is possible in the future. I know we've done some safeguards. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. So like crowdfunding is the alternative, where if you don't have a bank that's willing to lend you capital for your operations, and if you don't know a wealthy person, an angel investor or a venture capitalist to give you some capital to start off, previously these people who had a dream to continue a business or start a new business, they might have just either never tried or they would have folded. They wouldn't have had the money to move on. But now with crowdfunding, you're eliminating the middleman. The beauty of crowdfunding is it's taking all these industries that have been very traditional for many years and required middlemen all over the place. You're able to directly invest in a person with a need. It's people funding people, as opposed to a bank making a decision, and their decisions usually are only black and white criteria, or a venture capitalist who just has unrealistic expectations and will not, will only invest on their terms.
A la the sharks.
A la the sharks from Shark Tank.
Right. Yeah.
And so, the safeguards you mentioned 100% as soon as this unaccredited investor crowdfunding comes into play, that was the release that the Securities and Exchange Commission said back in October. They're allowing for anyone, regardless of income, to invest in a private company through crowdfunding. The only crowdfunding legislation that's 100% implemented, and by the way, this was as a result of the 2012 Jobs Act. And so the only piece of the 2012 Jobs Act which was passed into law that's implemented is the Title II equity crowdfunding, which is essentially crowdfunding for wealthy individuals. Crowdfunding for accredited investors, those making $200,000 a year or worth $1 million in net worth. That's the definition of an accredited investor. And they're the only investors right now who could potentially be investing in the next Facebook or in the next high growth company. But until the Securities and Exchange Commission gets off their tail and implement the unaccredited investor rules, there's only 8.7 million wealthy people who qualify as accredited. Imagine what small business growth will look like once 300 million Americans can potentially invest in a private company.
It's weird. You got 330 million, and only 8 million are credited that they have enough money to do this sort of thing. That says a lot about
income inequality.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Right.
And a lot of people believe that crowdfunding could potentially help alleviate that.
At least start to even it off.
At least it'll bring, to some people, the American dream has been lost. But from my experience, when I tell people what this is, I see that the American dream is coming back.
It's like being in church and everybody contributing,
exactly.
somewhat. So then somebody that really has needs, wasn't there somebody kidding around on Wall Street that, hey, I can't remember what it was, just recently. There was something, and he raised $54,000 overnight.
Was it the potato salad campaign?
Yeah, they wanted a good potato salad.
Absolutely.
And he went online with it for a good potato salad. He raised $54,000 overnight. And
he only asked for $10 too. And I'll tell you why that happened so well. Yeah. Because he used Kickstarter.com, which is one of the most popular and the largest crowdfunding portal. And at that point, right when he put that on, Kickstarter the day before changed their standards, so they're not curating who's allowed to post projects anymore. So he had a witty idea, but he also timed it right because Kickstarter would have never let that project go previously, but they changed their own rules, and that's just. It's sad to think that someone can raise $54,000 for potato salad, but someone's house that just burned down, no one's going to give them money. It's a weird country we live in.
Yeah. Well, it's not what you know, it's who you know, and he knew somebody in the media or got connected with somebody in the media, and that's how these things get out. How do some of these people that have problems, how do they get out there? Because they knew somebody, they happened upon a reporter that, hey, so that's what we need to do is get a lot more of these stories out there where people can help. What are you doing on an ongoing basis since the last time you were on, which was October of last year?
So a lot has changed. I'm 40 pounds heavier since last year.
Really?
But I've been traveling a lot because. To tell you a little bit about like my travels recently, sure. Like you, I have a show that's online. It's called Reality Crowd TV.
Okay.
And that show really is trying to educate people on what it takes to be an entrepreneur who's trying to raise capital through crowdfunding. So we're documenting the journey of these entrepreneurs who are going 3 to 6 months before they ever launch their campaign. They're going through a series of tests, challenges, and obstacles, which are really teaching them entrepreneurship, and that's the whole concept of the show. So we've had over 30 episodes of a web-based show right now.
Wow.
And we've interviewed some key professionals, experts, ecosystems, entrepreneurs online. But we also did a 9-state tour, just like an American Idol would do. We went to 9 states, held mock shows and panel discussions, and really tried to show the vision of what we're trying to do in real life so that people can actually see what we're getting at. So we went to Connecticut, Boston, New York, DC, Jacksonville, Austin, Denver, and Seattle. And I'm missing one. Atlanta. Sorry,
Okay.
Atlanta. So
All
that
right.
was 9 states, and we held all these different mock shows and panel discussions. And I didn't know these people previously, but because they saw the potential of turning reality TV on its head, instead of, the motto is, let's make crowdfunding more popular than Kim Kardashian, and let's educate people to make them smarter, as opposed to, really just having stupid television.
Or the housewives of Hollywood or Beverly Hills or wherever they are.
I don't want to make a judgment on that type of TV. I don't watch that type of television, so I know it's entertaining, because when I do turn in, I actually like it too. Like it's fun, but I feel as if there's a need to create more education and empowerment television, and show real life stories, and show that there's information and ways to actually execute on a business. A lot of people have dreams, but they always are afraid because they don't know what they don't know.
Right. They don't know if it's a black hole down below or what.
So if people release that information and they gave resources and tools, not like the old way where you give someone a carrot and you have to pay a huge amount of money to get the rest. Give them everything. I want everything out there. And I want people to see, if you want to be successful, then this is how hard it's going to be for you. And so you have to be committed to the point where you're willing to lose it all if you really want to be successful in business. So, a lot of people say, that some people have had unfair advantages. And that is true. There are some people, but there's some entrepreneurs who've sacrificed immense amount of time, immense amount of effort, and slowly they build their reputation and they build their brand, and then they become lumped in the group that is seen as the unfair advantage.
Well, for all of those monopolists that have been out there, you've also had the people like Facebook.
Yes.
You can. Some people begrudge where a person is at the end, but he built from scratch, and there's a lot of people that can do that, and have the wherewithal. And we're not bemoaning or knocking people like that down. We're basically saying that there should be more opportunities for people to do what was done with Facebook and Google and a few of those others, as opposed to having it all regimented so that only a few that already got capital can succeed, and there's no room for anybody else. You got to sort of be in line, right?
You're right about that, and believe it or not, I'm not a tech guy, but I'm entering a tech field. Crowdfunding is a lot of technology involved, and you have to know social media, you have to know PR, business plan, you have to know all these things, and websites in particular. But you know how I said you don't know what you don't know? If you're determined to know, you will know. So I'm not a tech guy, but I can speak like them now, because I'm determined to know and uncover what did these people do? How did they create that function in that website? How does someone get 50,000 followers on Twitter? When you're determined to know, success leaves clues, right? And if you're determined to figure something out and you're willing to risk a lot to do it, if you're willing to just put yourself out there and subdue some of your emotions and then the fears that come with the unknown, you can know how they did it.
You have that aha moment,
Yes.
Aha.
Yes.
Yes.
You realize to say, wow, okay, so now that I know, I'm going to turn this on its head. I'm going to tell everyone else. Because people, the old way of doing business is you have a process, you don't tell anyone how you do it. You have information, you don't give everybody the information unless you charge them an arm and a leg. I want to create a business where as soon as I learn something, here you go. Because I believe...
You want to be an information broker.
But the thing is, I will give the information at no cost. Because I believe information, once someone knows it, it should be out there. But you also know about human nature, right? You can give someone everything, but they may not have the time to execute. So there's still room for people to help. But I don't believe in selling someone something when you know they're not going to be able to execute. I believe in and I know that's sales.
Yeah.